Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Undead Unluck, episode number 21 reaction. So the previous episode we met Unknown and he is helping us out currently, and we also got to meet Autumn. Yeah, Autumn as well. Obviously Autumn is someone with that we will have to capture. So to do that we need more power, so that is why Unknown is going to train us by helping Andy know about his past, and using that that stinger thing that the Autumn is using, and converting like whatever the stinger touches, converting them into books and biographies. He used that on Andy so that they can get to know about Andy's past, and Andy can know about himself, obviously unlocking his latent potential, which he has when he's Victor. Like in this, the way Andy is, he doesn't have his full memories, so that obviously restricts his power. So this might help. And also, like, the reason why he's doing all of this is probably because since he draws whatever he draws, it becomes like, it's the future. We saw in the very beginning of the previous episode that there was a little scene that he saw in his head where Andy and Foucault were fighting against Autumn. Rip and the other, that little thing, was also there with them, fighting against Autumn as well. However, like when Foucault used Unluck, someone came from the back and like stabbed her, and she falls down on the ground bleeding out. So to prevent that, I think Unknown is doing this, and like something like that. That is why like he's like personally kind of like supervising their training, so that that future doesn't come become reality. So that's just what I think. Either way, let us see what happens today. We're going to get to know more about Andy's past today, I'm guessing. So yeah, let us go. This is episode number 21. I'll be putting the subtitles and the timer here. Sync it to whichever is your preference, and let's begin. Right, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. G-Liner, that's the name. Okay. Yeah, it's so big, like the whole backstory. Makes sense since he's been alive for so long. Yeah, there you go. And I feel like it's the same for Juice as well, because she's also living for a long time. What? Oh, I thought we were going to read it. True. So it'll be like a VR experience. Yeah, at this point you think, oh my god, this just took out his soul. It's a Soul Caliber. Bruh. Right. Some cartoony types. Okay. Wait, so can she interfere in that past? Wouldn't that make like a time paradox? Okay. Okay, another thing I wanted to talk about, I was thinking about this. I just realized something. The previous version, like the first half's ending song where Juice is there, that is like that's definitely Juice is there on the boat. Andy's there. I just realized that like kind of indicates, I think the boat indicates Ark, and Juice is there sitting, and Andy is also there, which shows how Andy and Juice has been like looping throughout the whole thing, even after the world gets destroyed. That's just what I think. Like that was like a indication, like a symbolism of both of them on the boat. I think the boat is Ark, and both of them are like sitting there. I don't know, that's just something that I thought. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Now that we know a little bit about what's happening, that ending song makes sense. Okay. Oh, and oh my god. I think it also makes no, it doesn't make sense. I was going to say like Victor and Andy fighting here, it would make sense since we're going to see his past. But then again, that doesn't make okay, no, no. How can they fight against each other? They're the same person. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, let's see. What the hell is it's the middle of the desert? Yeah. Whoa. Yo, is that a cowboy? What the? Oh no. Don't touch. Hey yo, calm down. Oh, wait, he was like a cowboy? No, that's not his name. It's Victor here. This is Victor. Longing. You know, Longing, one of the that town where the zombies were. Yeah, I'm Victor. John. Oh wait. Oh yeah, that's true. Oh, maybe rules and stuff doesn't exist here, or maybe it does. Okay. Yeah, it does. Okay, never mind. Bruh, you're a mid witch. Yes. Does he even have that now? Okay, he has it. She said it. She knows his future. Wait, he still has the thing. Wait. I just realized it. Under the bandage, the okay, I'm confused now. What's happening? And this does look like Andy. You know, the hair is different. At- But how? Okay. Yeah, how? Oh, okay. Wait, this looks like what the hell is going on here? That looks like top, doesn't it? Sunflower. Okay. Okay, okay, I think I understand now. This is happening just after Andy sealed his memories, I think. There you go. Yeah, so he's not Victor now. He okay. Hmm. Right. Bruh. Uh okay, so hmm. Yeah, I was thinking, does he not have undead now? Wait, what? Oh, so he hasn't died. Unless until he dies, he'll not realize that he's an undead. Okay, interesting. Oh, another thing. Wait. The thing about the language, like how they're speaking Japan. Russian roulette? Bro. Hmm. Hmm. Oh boy. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah. Well, Andy wouldn't do that. Yeah. I was gonna say Andy wouldn't do that, so that's why. Oh, the bleeding. Whoa, 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 whoa. What the hell happened? Andy will be fine, but did they get shot? Oh my god, that's why she was like sweating when they were talking. I was wondering why were they sweating? Oh no, wait, wait, wait. Did everyone get shot? Oh my god. Andy will be fine. Fuko's alive. Oh my god, everyone got shot. Wait, wait, wait. This wasn't supposed to happen. Since Fuko's here, she interfered in this. Oh, wait, wait, wait. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Okay, one thing. If Foucault wasn't there, which is how it's originally supposed to go, I doubt. I feel like they would have died either way. So the future wouldn't have changed in a significant way. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. What? Shooting. One thing I'm thinking. So Foucault's not aging, which would make sense because she's technically in a dream. It'll be a small one, but you know. Hey! Okay, what name does he go with? Like, not Andy, but the other. Yeah. Wow. Hmm. Rain stopped thinking. Hmm. Oh, the little kid has grown up. Memories. As long as people remember you. Hmm. Hmm. What? He was born? Okay. Oh, back in time again. Oh yeah, time's up, I'm guessing. No, she's probably going to come out or like go more back. Okay, so interesting. I'll talk about this later. So it's connected. Like this type of like there's like different ways of time travels, like memories and stuff. I'll talk about this in the discussion section. So whatever she's memento mori. So whatever she's going to influence it. Okay, I'll talk about it later. Like I said. Okay, so this time it's Victor. I'm guessing his oldest memories, or maybe not. Maybe this is where he was born. Like Andy was born, not Victor. Let's see. Oh, okay. Let's wait for the next week. Right. Okay. So, like I was saying, um, so whatever Foucault will be influencing is something that has actually happened in Andy's past. I'm guessing. But it's kind of like this thing is kind of confusing because then you'll be like, then like how does that happen? Like like after Andy, if Andy has already met Foucault, like but after meeting Foucault goes to his past, so then how does that work? But I guess that's the thing about time traveling. It's just like it just happens. Like there's no like chronological order of time. Like everything happens at the same time, and it's like just things that like it's difficult to like explain. I think I'll look through this whole episode again, like I usually do, and I'll try to figure out how this time travel works. Because Foucault told Andy that 2020 this day, be sure to come in this place. There we will meet. So unless and until he knew that, he wouldn't be able to go there. So that means when Andy met Foucault apparently for the first time in Shinjuku Station, He already met her before in the past. Okay, like I said, I'm just going to be like, this is going to be a little bit complicated, I think. Like, I need to understand that how this works, this whole time travel works. So here's the thing. I was wondering, now that Foucault went in his past, whatever she will be influencing, will that be like like an actual thing? Like, will that actually influence Andy's future? But then, like I said, if that is the case, then that brings up the whole concept of time paradox. Like, how can Andy meet Foucault when Foucault wasn't even born? That kind of thing it brings up. Like, Foucault goes back in time, so how can Andy get to know from Foucault where she will be from her future self if he hasn't even met her? You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, you have to remember, Andy properly meets Foucault in 2020 Shinjuku Station, but apparently he knows about it from the past, from his past where Foucault time traveled. So that means he got to know this from a time traveler, Foucault, who wasn't even born in this time. She told him that, oh, you will meet me over here at this point of time, which is why he went there to meet Foucault, and this whole thing started happening. So it's kind of like, like like a weird thing if you think about it. But this is just what I feel like the best thing to, whenever you get confused about stuff like this in time traveling shows, I feel like you just have to accept it the way it is, because you cannot make heads and tails of time travel, how it works. It doesn't have a proper, like, explanation. Like, you just have to remember that, yeah, this has apparently happened. So apparently Andy met a time traveling Foucault, and that time traveling Foucault told Andy where he'll meet her in the future, and that is why when Andy went there, he met Foucault there. So a question will pop up, obviously: how is that possible? If Andy hasn't even met Foucault, how can a Foucault from the future come to him and tell him about where he'll meet him? How is that possible? If their meeting never happened, how can she even go back in time? Because they've never met, and like, Foucault's supposed to be dead over there. Foucault's supposed to jump and die over there at that point of time. So how can a time traveling Foucault come and tell Andy when they'll meet when she's supposed to be dead in the future? Like, it doesn't make sense. But this is just how it is, I guess. Like I said, if time has no chronological order, you think like it goes like past, present, future, but it's not at the same time. Everything's happening at the same time. So I feel like we have to kind of understand it like this thing. Also, really, I struggled with this whole time travel thing a lot when I was reading Steins Gate. I'm talking about the visual novel. I'm not talking about the anime. The anime is pretty good, but the visual novel goes way deeper into the time travel. And I remember struggling with this whole concept for a long time, not able to understand how this works. Like, because I was looking at time in a chronological order. I was like, oh, past happens, then the present happens, then the future happens. That's how I was. So I was thinking, like, how can something happen in the past when the future is what, like actually makes that happen? Like, how can something that happens here influence something that happens over here? How does that work? I was thinking, because I was looking at it in a chronological order. I'm like, this hasn't even happened. So how can this influence that? How can the future influence the past if the future hasn't even happened? Like, that is how I was looking at it, and I was just so confused throughout Steins Gate. But then I realized, I'm like, you know what? The way this going is that we just have to think about time in not a chronological order, but we'll have to think of it as a thing which is flexible. Like, whatever is happening in the past, present, future is also happening. Like, and it's like happening at the like the same like time. There's no chronological order to it. Something that can happen in the future can influence the past, at which like the past goes to the, that kind of thing. So I decided to take it like that, and lo and behold, everything became so easy for me to understand. So I just look at it like this. I just don't look at time in a chronology. I might be wrong, I might be right. This might not be a correct way of looking at it, but I feel like this is way more easier. Like, I just look at it like this. I don't see time as a chronological order thing. I look at it as if everything's happening at the same time. The past, present, and the future is happening at the same time. So anything can influence anything, that kind of thing. I kind of look at it like that, and it has made my thing so easier. If you have a better explanation of that, let me know. But this is just how I look at it, and I feel like I understand a lot more things than I would have been able to if I looked at time in a chronological order. So I just look at it like this. So this whole thing, where you can see, like, something that's happening in the future, which is Foucault going to Andy's past, is influencing Andy's past. It can happen in that sense. So that's how this is happening. Okay, and it would make sense how Andy knew exactly where to go on that date to meet Foucault. So that's why he was that at that point of time in Shinjuku Station, probably because he remembered the future Foucault's words. Something like that. So, and one thing I was saying at the beginning, where I was like, oh, since Foucault's here, couldn't she influence time? So I was thinking, that is when I was thinking, is this going to be that type of a show where where future can influence the past as well? Because I've seen a few shows where this doesn't happen, where future doesn't influence the past. It is more like a chronological order. That is why I was thinking which direction this show is going to take this whole time traveling to. Is it going to be one of those shows which treats time as a chronological event, like past, present, future? Anything in the future cannot influence the past. I was thinking, and then I saw that and I was still not sure. But then after the final scene where Foucault tells him that, oh, you're going to meet me over there at that point of time, I was confirmed. I was like, okay, so this is that type of show, more like Steins Gate, where the future can also influence the past, even though the future isn't supposed to happen because, it's in the future. So just think about it, your future self influencing your past self, that kind of thing. It's pretty damn absurd thinking about it. But it is like that. So, and then I realized, like, okay, so this is that type of show. It is taking the Steins Gate route, like, that way of, like, time travel. So yeah, so which makes it way more interesting in my opinion. Like, treating time like a chronological order, it is interesting, but I love these type of things more, where the time is not taken in a chronological order. Like, future can present the past as well. I like this setting. That is why I had so much fun with Steins Gate, because it treats time in a more flexible manner. Like, and it makes you bewildered as to what can influence what. Because I'm not saying anything, but I'm pretty sure everyone has seen Steins Gate. Like, it's been out for a long time, but still, because of spoilers, I'm not really saying much. But there is a certain scene that happens in the very beginning of Steins Gate, where Rin Okabe comes across a certain scene, and then everything happens, and then at the very end of the show or the visual novel, you see how his future self was the reason why that incident happened. So it's literally what happened in the future influenced the past, and that's why I love Steins Gate so much. It takes time and makes it so flexible. And I think this show is also going in this direction, so I have high expectations for it. Like, literally anything can happen. Like, and I'm pretty sure we'll get some pretty crazy, like, like, revelations here. Like, we'll probably realize, like, gets to see some crazy foreshadowing, like what has happened maybe in episode 1 or 2. Like, we'll get to know here, I'm like, oh my god, this has been foreshadowed. That kind of thing is going to happen. For example, here, like, Andy, how did Andy go to that place at that particular time? Because Foucault told him here. Foucault literally told him that, oh, you have to go there at this point of time. Then you'll meet me. So again, so that is literally, like, that, like, like, has connection to this. And I'm sure we'll get to see more of these type of things in the future as well. So, like, in the future, in the upcoming episodes as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Right. So that was that. Like, this is one thing that I really wanted to talk about. Now, like I said, this is just how I see it. I might be completely off the mark. Maybe that's not what is going on, but this is just how I see it. And after seeing this episode, this is what conclusion that I came to. Like, this is the direction it is going. Okay. Now, another thing you have to I think like this is another thing that we need to think about. You saw like how a lot of like time actually passed when Foucault and Andy has been, like moving together, like, fighting and stuff. And you saw how that little kid became like, older, like that, like longing, that little kid that Andy else like saved, that whole thing that happened, that little kid, you can see she grew old. So she, since she grew old, that would mean that a lot of time has passed. At least 3 to 4 years has passed, maybe more than that. But Foucault and Andy are still the same. Obviously, Andy is still the same. It makes sense. But Foucault is also the same. So I think my reasoning behind this is probably because it's not Foucault here in flesh. Foucault is in Andy's memories. So the time that like goes on, like the time, the passage of time that happens here has no influence on Foucault's original body. She doesn't age. Her body's outside. This is just her soul. So that is why she's still the same age here. It's more like, like her body's outside, and it's like the time that is happening outside is way different than what's happening over here. you know so that is why Foucault didn't age here as well, because this is just her, literally her mind or her soul inside. It's not her body. Her body is outside, and the passage of time inside here in this memory and outside in reality is pretty different. I'm pretty sure of it. But if she actually used like a time machine and time traveled with her original body, then that would have been different. That would have been very different if her whole body like was transported. This is not time traveling. It's more like a time leap. That's what it is. Not even time leap, because they're not really time leaping. She's just going inside Andy's memories. So it's not even time leap. Like, time traveling and time leap are different. Time traveling, as far as I know, is like you literally sit inside a time machine. You travel from one time to another. That's why your body is influenced. You are going to like whatever's going to happen to you is going to happen to you. But if you time leap, your memory only goes. So that means you actually jump, your memory like jumps from your head to your past self. There's no traveling going on. It's just your memory is leaping, which was the whole concept of Steins Gate. Time traveling also does happen in Steins Gate, but at the very later section, at the beginning part of the most of the story, it was just time leaping. This is similar to time leap. It's not time leaping, but it's very similar to it, right? Because Foucault's original body is not going anywhere. It's outside, while Foucault's memory is just going. So even if time goes and like everyone ages in Andy's memories, Foucault will not age, because this is just her memory, her soul inside. And if you think about it, souls and memories, they don't age. Only your body does. So that kind of thing. So yeah, that's another thing that I wanted to kind of talk about. Anything else? Obviously, like a lot of things happen. So let me just look at everything little by little. Oh, Soul Caliber is the artifact that Un used to extract her soul and throw it inside Andy's memories. And I at the beginning I was so confused. I was like, what is happening? I didn't realize. I thought it was Victor for a moment, but then I realized no, his hair is white. It's not Victor. And because I was expecting her to directly jump into Victor's memories, because these memories, Andy should have these memories. So I was like, why are we back? Why are we here? Because this wouldn't really help Andy to gain his previous power, because he remembers this. This is after he sealed his memories. So I was wondering that. That's why I automatically assumed that she leapt into Victor's past, because that is going to help Andy remember. But then I realized, no, this isn't Victor. This is Andy. And another thing kind of threw me off, which Foucault says that, oh, you aren't Andy at this point, at which I automatically assumed that she's talking about how this is Victor. But then I realized no, even when he wasn't Victor, when he became Andy, he wasn't called Andy. Andy is the name that Foucault gave him, if you remember. That's what I realized. So these few things kind of threw me off at the beginning, and I thought this was Victor. But then I was like, wait a minute, he has the thing in his head. This isn't Victor, this is Andy. And then I realized, oh, so that's what's happening. The reason why Foucault said that you're not Andy is because that even before, before she named him Andy, he was still Andy. He, after sealing his memories, He was probably just nameless. He didn't have any name. His comrades probably called him captain or something, and that's it. That was all that was going on. He didn't have a particular name. The name was given to him by Foucault. So that is why what Foucault meant there was that, oh, you're not Victor, but at the same time you're not Andy because I'm the one who named you. So you're that person who's between that, from where Victor ended to where Andy started. You're that. You're that Andy in the middle. That's what I realized. And I realized that at that point. And then there was also a section where this also kind of threw me off, where I was like, wait a minute, does her unluck not work here? Because technically unluck, someone else should have unluck at this point, because Foucault wasn't even born. So I was thinking, wait a minute, does that mean that Foucault's unluck won't work on them? But it worked. So yeah. uh, like that little bird poop that happened. So then I started thinking, like, okay, so that means Andy also has undead with him. At which, when Foucault was like, told him that, oh, you're undead, he was like, what? I'm not undead, and everyone was laughing. They were like, yeah, what are you saying? Like, our captain only his healing process is a bit fast. He heals very quickly. He's not an undead, which again threw me off for a moment. I'm like, wait, what? Like, what is this? And then when Foucault explained that, oh, it's probably because he's never died after getting this power, that is why he doesn't realize that his power is actually undead or not, and not actually healing or regeneration. And then I realized, oh yeah, that makes sense, because unless and until you die, for him it'll just be like his wounds are healing quickly. He doesn't know that he will not die because he hasn't died. So once he dies, then he'll realize that his power is actually undead and not something like super regeneration or something. It's not something like that. His power is undead, and unless and until he dies, he won't remember that. And we have to remember that he has sealed his memories about Victor. So Victor's memories also isn't there, so he doesn't know he's an undead. So yeah, so a few things kind of threw me off at the beginning, but then I kind of realized what was going on, and like little by little, I I understood. An interesting thing that they went to longing, not went to longing, sorry, but they were in longing at the very beginning, which obviously like we got into longing in one of those previous episodes. The whole zombie thing that happened, and yeah, I'm kind of thinking whether that has some connection. Like like when we went to longing, I'm just trying to remember if I'm trying to remember what Andy commented when he got to know that he was going to longing, because he already has been here in longing before. So I'm trying to remember if in that episode he commented on something which probably foreshadows this episode, but I cannot remember anything. You know, like it won't be surprising if he said something when he got to back in that episode. I need to go and check that episode, to see whether he said something about longing, which kind of foreshadows what's going to happen in today's episode or something like that. Not what's going to happen in today's episode, but he said something about his past, like hinted something about his past when we got to know that we had to go to longing to take care of a spoil. This is what I'm thinking, but I cannot really remember that much of that episode. So yeah, like all the intricate details of that episode. Um, Either way, right. And anything else? No, that was it. Like she goes to the past, talks to Andy, and oh no, another thing I need to think about now, the language. Okay, like this is another thing that confuses us, because every single character is speaking Japanese, but we need to remember that a few are actually speaking English. So I need to figure it out, who is speaking English and who's speaking Japanese. So first of all, one thing we need to remember is that Andy is a negator, and at this point of time, language was okay. Unification of language didn't happen. It didn't happen. So yeah, so that means everyone speaks the intended language. Here, obviously, it's America. I'm guessing this is, yeah. They speak English. The reason why those guys, Josh or John, whatever her name was, Sanders, I think, like all of them, they were speaking Japanese because Andy taught them. Because obviously Andy is Japanese. He's from Japan, I'm guessing. Yeah, Victor's from Japan, isn't he? I think so. That is why. So, and it wouldn't even have like like it, even if like the unification of language had happened by this time, it wouldn't matter because they would have spoken English either way because this is America, I'm guessing. So yeah, it wouldn't have mattered. So the reason why, okay, here's the thing. Foucault at first tries to speak English. Okay, where's right? Okay, the first scene when that cowboy comes in and he's like, freeze. One of the kids that got away, come back. Okay, so I'm guessing this is what confuses, like because he's clearly speaking Japanese here, but I'm guessing he's actually speaking English here. So because like, how can this guy know like can speak Japanese? It wouldn't make sense. It would make sense for those three to speak Japanese because Andy taught them. But this guy speaking Japanese literally makes no sense. So I'm pretty sure he's speaking English, and that's why like Foucault said like, oh, my name is Izumi Foucault. I am like Japanese. Foucault Izumo Japanese. Yeah, there you go. So he literally said, speak English. So yeah, he is speaking English, but it confuses us because it's Japanese actually. um. So yeah, Nico's necktie isn't working. I guess it makes sense because Nico literally doesn't even exist here. I'm pretty sure he's not even born. So how could his necktie work? No, not in that sense, I guess. Maybe because is that why? Probably. Yeah, probably that is why the necktie isn't working. Huh. Wait a minute, the necktie is an artifact, isn't it? Yeah. Is the necktie an artifact? I'm kind of forgetting. Yeah, the necktie is an artifact, isn't it? So that would mean maybe that artifact in itself doesn't exist here. That is why the necktie isn't working. Something like that. I don't know. Either way, she's like, the way she said, I'm normal 18, no dangerous, don't touch me, okay? Okay. And he tries to. Right. So, yeah, obviously, these guys are not speaking Japanese. But then Andy comes in. Yeah. So there you go. Andy can speak Japanese, and that is why those three also can speak Japanese because Andy taught them. Okay, the language thing is cleared up to me now because I was kind of like getting a little bit confused here because even though they're speaking Japanese, a few of them were speaking English here. So I didn't know which one was speaking English. But yeah, now it's clear. Those guys, those like our enemies, those guys, those cowboys, they were speaking English. Andy was speaking Japanese. So were the other three, the like Sanders, Josh, and all of them. They were also speaking Japanese because Andy taught them Japanese. And there you go. It's clear now. And yeah, that was that. Yeah, and I think I like that was all that I wanted to discuss about in this episode. Now I'm going to talk about this episode scene by scene in case I missed something. So the first section we get to see Anno Un taking out Soul Calibur, and she's like, not she's he. I'm pretty sure that's a guy. He's like, okay, so you have to go in. Fuka's like, wait, I thought we were going to read it, and he's like, come on, like read what? And this long? You're going to read it? No, you're going to experience it. So he takes out her soul and shoots it inside the Andy's book, and yeah, it can pluck people's soul and seal them inside of objects. So Unknown does that. You learn parts about him unknown to you and learn more about yourself. Okay, makes sense because like if you think about it like that, Foucault literally was the person who influenced Andy to become the Andy that he is now. Like his Foucault's future self, that is the self here currently, she was the one who influenced Andy and made him like changed his like like made him more animated and more expressive. As we saw at the very beginning, Andy was just completely like without any emotion, but then the Andy that we know now, always laughing and smiling, that was because of Foucault. So it makes sense. So okay, so that happens. She goes and she ends up in this desert, and this guy comes and points the gun at her, shoots her. Andy saves her, and obviously when Foucault's like, Andy, he's like, his name is not Andy, yeah. So he's like, what are you talking about? Um. Okay, so then the other three comes in, Josh, Sanders, and the other guy, and since Josh touched her, Foucault's like, oh no, Unluck is coming, and a bird pooped on her head, and she's like, what the hell? Like, was it you who influenced that? And obviously, Foucault was like, oh yeah, makes sense because I'm not really that friendly with you. I don't even know you, so that's why the Unluck wasn't really that big. And they thought like she was a witch. It's just like, are you a witch? And points a gun at her. Okay, so obviously they were suspicious of her, but then Foucault's like, I know how I can prove that I know more about you and that I'm from the future. And she says, like, left shoulder dead end, that's written, and on your left chest, 1865. My name is Foucault Izumo. I know your future. I don't know why she was speaking English here. Like, if Andy can speak Japanese, can't he? Why was he speaking English here? Yeah, I don't like this again. This kind of threw me off when I was reacting. I was for a moment I was thinking like, wait a minute. So does Andy not speak Japanese? But didn't he literally? She literally say that Andy's the one who taught these three Japanese. So why is she speaking English here? This again threw me off a little bit. But I don't know why she's speaking English here, because it was established that Andy speaks Japanese. Okay. Huh. Okay, anyways, now obviously here's the thing. These guys are thinking that she is probably someone from Andy's past. And by Andy's past, I mean Victor. They're thinking that she's from Andy's past that Andy doesn't remember. You know, which is technically not correct because Foucault's actually from the future. But it would make sense. Like, that's the obviously possible thing that you'll think about. Like nobody will think that, oh, you're from the future. They'll obviously think, oh, you're from the past. Someone from Andy's past that knew about Andy. Like, that's why they were thinking that. Even Andy thought that. That's why they took Foucault with them. And they go to Longing and bring, like, like they brought the kids back. And the bartender, she was very grateful. And yeah, so anyways, they come inside and they're like drinking, and here you can see the bartender. Like, I was kind of thinking, why was the bartender like acting like in a weird way she was acting? I didn't realize what I was like, why is she acting like that? It makes sense why she was just like probably under a lot of stress because those guys told her to make them drunk so that they can attack them. Okay, either way, so they will do a little drinking contest and all that, and like, yeah, and then the whole conversations begins again. Like, Captain doesn't remember about his past. That is why we have been roaming around the world trying to find out anything that can help Captain remember his past. And they're like, oh, if you're lying, yeah, we'll not leave you, like, we're not going to forgive you. Okay, so obviously Andy's like, why do you know about my tattoos? At which Foucault says that, oh, because in the future you're like literally naked every time. Which obviously they don't they don't believe, because Andy is not like that. Now we have to, like I said, we have to remember that Foucault, like the way Andy is currently, the biggest reason behind that is because Foucault went to the past and changed him, and made him the person he is now. So that's why they are obviously like, what the hell are you saying? And like, Captain's never going to be doing that. Either way, and then she's like, you know what? If you don't trust me, let me join you guys, and I'll prove myself. At which they do the whole initiation ceremony where they play Russian roulette, and yeah, Fuko does it once and then twice, thrice. Obviously, the other two are like, "What the hell are you doing?" At which Fuko's like, "This is Andy we're talking about. I'm 100% sure he hasn't put any bullets inside." So it's empty, and that is literally what happened. And I was also like, yeah, I'm sure something he has done something to the gun. Either the like the magazine is empty, or like something has happened, or the gun is faulty, something like that. It won't shoot. That's probably he gave it to her. Because he's not going to involve people, as Foucault says, and he's not the type of person who's to involve a non-combatant in a situation like this. She's just probably trying to scare me off or trying to see my resolve. And yeah, that is it. You did a good job tricking me. I couldn't tell. And those other two are like, how are you so confirmed about it? And she's like, oh, I just know it's because it's Andy. He's not going to do something like that. Um, okay, either way, and then suddenly this whole thing happens. Like those guys comes in, starts shooting. Those three immediately dies. You know. However, Josh comes in and jumps and saves Fruko. And while trying to save Fruko, Josh gets hit at the back, I'm guessing, or someplace. Those two immediately died. Josh was injured and she was still holding on to her life. And she said like the last parting few words to Fuko. Well, obviously Andy is just Andy. He's not going to die. So like these guys. Okay. Fuko's like, Miss Josh, you protected me. And she said that in the future, the captain, he's doing well. He doesn't look like he's in pain. And she's like, yeah, he's great. And at which she's like, okay, that's great. I'm glad to hear it. And she dies after that. And after that, Andy gets up and is like, okay, so I understand. I am undead, you know. And then he went and took care of those guys. Yeah, and this is where Foucault says, like, I just realized that it's not only me looking at Andy's past here, it's me also experiencing the farewells that Andy went through because he's been alive for a long time. Obviously, one of the biggest things his past has is a lot of farewells. And yeah, and then like he made the grave for them, and that bartender, she was apologizing, at which Andy comes and gives her the bottles, and she's like, pour out the booze of houses selling on their graves. Every year on this day, the newer version. Keep doing this for the rest of your life. And yeah, I won't blame you, and I'll forgive you after that. And yeah, and they go forward on their way. And when Fuko's like, oh, like, we are a team, aren't we? And he's like, no, I'm going to just drop you in the next town. Either way, they keep going, like fighting, and you can see like they went through a lot of stuff. Fuko, Andy, all of them like fought. And you can see like I'm guessing probably after all this, Fuko's probably now very good with a gun, you know, because I don't know. You can see her using a gun here a lot, fighting against those like guys. So yeah, I'm guessing this probably is going to help her be more proficient with a gun in the future, or something like that. I don't know. Either way, um, right. And she's like, it's a weird experience. Like I've been in a character in some kind of a book. Like I said, it's not that she's there. It's her memory. Her soul is inside there. And she's like, during that time, Andy never cracked a smile. He never once talked about his past. Yeah. And later on, we get to see some new members, in Andy's group. Some, they obviously they're not believing. They're like, oh, you're the luck negator? What the hell? We don't believe you. At which Foucault touches them, and like both of them gets like their splash of unluck. Either way, Foucault goes and brings food to Andy and talks about the whole situation, you know, and here they talk about, Andy talks about what does it mean to die. you know. And he says that what I think is that um, it is when your brain stops thinking. Thinking means you can challenge. Thinking means you can change. Um, I think when a person cannot do that anymore, that's when they are dead. Right. So yeah. So makes sense. You know, as long as you can think, as long as you can change something, you know, you're alive. At which Foucault takes a more philosophical, like, like approach, and she's like, I don't believe, I don't agree with that. In my opinion, people are dead when everyone stops remembering you. As long as you have someone in their heart, they'll always be alive within you. You know. So he says like a similar thing with my parents. I accidentally, like I was the reason why their plane exploded, but they're just there within me, always telling me that it's not my fault. So they're not forgotten, and that's why they're still alive within me. And yeah, and she's like, I'm sure that Miss Josh and the others are alive inside of you. At which Andy Andy kind of smiles, and Foucault's like, oh, finally, like you finally smile like the Andy that I know. Okay, so he says 1865 April 15th, Washington DC. Okay, so this is the date that has been carved, in his chest, 1865. So I do wonder what is, like, I'm trying to think. He says that this is the Washington DC, my oldest memory. Okay, here we go. He says that it's my oldest memory. What does that mean? Does that mean that was the day when he sealed Victor in him? Or does that mean, like, because he shouldn't have Victor's memories? That means what he's saying here is probably the day that he sealed his memories. It's probably that. So we're going to see that day, and we're probably going to see next week how from Victor Andy was born. Maybe that's why, because he shouldn't have Victor's memories. So his oldest memories must mean like when he became Andy, that day. That's probably what it is, and that is probably why when maybe like he knew that he had to remember that date. That's why before he sealed his memories, probably, or someone else sealed it from him. We don't know what it is. He tattooed himself that date so that he always remembers the date. That this is the day where I became like this, where I sealed my memories, or something like that. He did probably. That is why that date is there. Either way, we'll get to know in the next episode. There's no need to like speculate about it. It's just have to wait for 1 week, and we'll get to know. And he's like, you have to go somewhere, haven't you? Like you can go ahead. I'll be fine as like now, as long as you don't forget, I won't. Like. And he tries to kiss her, but she's like, oh, you're not. Even though you are the Andy that I like, but you're still not the same Andy. Like we haven't literally met in reality, in the real world. So she's like, not now. And she says in the end that 144 years from now, on August 1st, 2020. Wait, 144 years. Wait a minute. That means 120, 1990, 1980. Okay, so it's 1986 or something like that. So 1 year has passed, I'm guessing. Isn't it? No. Wait, what? Uh, now, yeah, 1970, no, 1870, 1876. Wait, what was the date that he said? 1870. Wait. 1865. Okay. Oh no, so that means 11 years. 11 years has passed after that date. 1865. Okay, I see. Something like that. All right. So she's like, I will meet at Shinjuku Station then, So yeah, I'll try and run away from you, but make sure you catch me. If you don't on that day, I'll kiss you. So be sure not to forget. As long as you do not forget, yeah, then people won't die. Yeah. Okay. There you go. And yeah, that means the future Foucault influenced Andy's past, which made him go and meet Foucault on that particular day. Like I said, so this is the type of show or the type of time travel where you can influence the past and your future self can influence the past, which is something that I'm looking forward to, because these type of shows or these type of approach in time travel is actually makes it more interesting, like where time is more flexible. It makes it way more interesting with way more like cool stuff happening. So I'm really looking forward to how this is going to go. And now Foucault goes back to on that day to Washington DC, and she's like in front of like a, I don't know what it is, like a building or something. Yeah. So we're going to see whatever's going to happen here. Um, and like I said, I think this is the date where Victor becomes Andy. That's why it's his latest like oldest memory. It must be that day. And here Andy, like Foucault will get to know how Victor became Andy. Something like that. And I do wonder, just like how she influenced like Andy's past, in today's episode, if the same is going to happen here as well in like Washington DC, whether she's going to influence something about Victor's past. So let's wait and see. Either way, that was it. That was my reaction to this episode. Great episode. Like time traveling stuff is always like very interesting, these type of things. And like I said, this version of time travel where time is way more flexible, it makes it way more interesting in my opinion, like because literally anything can happen. And your future self can also influence your past self. That's how crazy and mind-blowing it can go. Like I've seen Steins Gate, I know how crazy this can become. Literally it'll make your jaw wide open when you realize what the hell happened and how this event is connected to that event which is going to happen way in the future. Crazy stuff like this happens. So I'm really looking forward to this. I don't know if something like that major is going to happen here, but we've already seen a little bit of it, how Foucault influences Andy's past. So something like that similar might happen, and who knows, maybe something jaw-dropping might happen here as well. And even if it doesn't happen, it's still very interesting. I'm looking forward to this. So that is it. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed, comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know. I'll check them out. And that is it. Yeah, so thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week with another episode of Undead Unluck. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.